of a little bit extra. The Reborn versus whomever win this series, they'll be fighting over $2,500. That's a pretty good paycheck, if I do say so myself.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into these bands, guys. Team Oxgyen Esports hopping up with the first band. They decided to get rid of the Revenant.
No surprise.
No surprise there. Arctic Wolves is going to ban Rampage. So we've got a Rampage, Revenant ban, Team Oxgyen, instantly that Belica pick. They didn't even hesitate, Shane. They're like, you know what? We want her. We want her. Give her to me. We're taking her. And Belica's one of those. Up by Oxgyen.
She's such a versatile hero. You can run her mid, you can run her support, and it's not too uncommon to see her run in the offlane as well. We've seen Reflect run her in the offlane from Reborn. We've seen Ramreels run her offlane as well. So it's not only is it a strong hero, but again, it's not revealing of your draft. I think that's going to be very important, especially with the next series coming up here, that teams don't show their cards immediately. And that's one of the reasons I love Belica so much in the draft, is it still leaves a lot of ambiguity to your opponents.
Arctic Wolves is going to be picking up Moragesh. Moragesh did see a tweak. She's a little bit weaker. Early game, costs a little bit more mana to use her abilities, but she still does what Moragesh does, and that is end heroes' lives very quickly if you let her get that farm and you don't pay much attention to her. So they're going to pick up the Moragesh, which means we're going to see, I believe, their offlaner, Mr. Guru, may be on the hero, and of course a Decker pickup. Decker, in my opinion, and I think a lot of the competitive players will agree, the strongest support in the game. She's a powerhouse, Shane.
The support's priorities has really shifted greatly. Phase was nerfed. We'll call it what it is. It wasn't the biggest nerf in the world. I think it brought her more in line, but we've actually saw last series, we saw Narbash bans. Narbash, especially now, Master Splinter's a good, he can make that hero do things that really other people aren't able to do. But the support meta has changed significantly. I think that's the biggest thing that the patch changed. The patch that came out on Tuesday was the support's priorities have really shifted. Decker's still on top, but everything under Decker, there's still a lot of room for teams to pick and maneuver a little bit inside of the support heroes currently in the pool.
Oxgyen picks up Grux and Twin Blast very quickly. And back over to Arctic Wolves. Arctic Wolves is going to pick up Howitzer to combo with that Decker, which means we're going to see Taurino on Howitzer. And I expect to see them. I mean, is jungler carry, so possibly a Sparrow Murdoch here. And if it's Fatal Barrage, I expect to see a Sevarog and or Grux come up pretty quickly for their next pick here.
We saw Chimera last series, but I don't think this is going to be a good Chimera game. Belica provides too much seismic assault, peel, Grux with smash and grab. I've long said throughout this exhibition that I think Chimera is a little bit of a sleeper hero. But in this situation, I agree. I don't think we're going to see the Chimera pocket pick. I think it's more likely going to be that Sevarog. After Sevarog, really, whom else could it be? I think it would either have to be Chimera or Crunch. But yeah, Sevarog, he's just simply an extraordinarily strong hero, effective jungler. And again, out of all the junglers, he's that late game tank. No jungler transitions into the late game as well as Sevarog does. So with that pick, Arctic Wolves really cements themselves well in the 25+ minute period.
And Oxgyen Esports picks up FaZe. We have not seen a lot of FaZe this weekend. We've seen more priority heading towards Decker, Belica, and Narbash. So FaZe is picked up. A Kwong pickup as well. So Ramridos is going to be offlane with Kwong. We've got Meds in the jungle with Grux. Arctic Wolves, that leaves their carry. I don't expect Murdoch or Grim pick here. Twin Blast has been picked, Revenant's banned, so I'm expecting a Sparrow pickup. Especially for Survivor. Survivor's a great Sparrow, and I think it's a hero he's comfortable with.
Murdoch is another hero I think that would fit pretty decently as well. Subjugate into the long arm of the law, and Murdoch's late game DPS might not be as consistent as a Sparrow, but lining up with his passive and crit, you actually can do long range damage as long as you land those autos. I do agree. I think Sparrow's the favored carry here, but I wouldn't be terribly surprised if we see a Murdoch. I almost said Morgesh. Morgesh range carry confirmed. A Murdoch being picked up here. Either way, I think it's entirely on which one are they more comfortable on. I agree. I think Survivor's seeing what he plays, Sparrow would fit his play.
Yeah, that's going to be the pickup here, Sparrow. So they've got good combo potential, Shane. Decker into a Make It Rain. Sparrow, I mean, they've got great combo potential. They've got a good engage coming out of the Sevarog. I do like Team Oxygen Esports draft. They can be a little bit aggressive with FaZe because she's able to pull people out of combat. Plus that tether, smash and grab, seismic assault. Both of these teams have a great draft. It's really going to come down to who executes, because looking at these drafts, I can't really favor one or the other.
I think
it's really going to come down to who executes the engagements, and again, better execution is going to determine this fight. Shane, Arctic Wolves is a team that's been around. The name Arctic Wolves has been around forever, and you've got Oxygen, who when they first appeared on the scene, dominated. They beat Reborn their first event.
Red or blue.
Oxygen Blue, Oxygen Red. When they showed up and they beat Reborn that first event they signed up for, I think everybody was a little bit shocked. Like, wait a second, where did this Oxygen NA team come from? And since then, they've been a name in the competitive scene. So this is going to be a great game. Both of these teams trying to find a spot to North Carolina for the $15,000 event and a chance to win $2,500 today. Shane, I'm ready, brother. Are you?
I am so ready. This is a cumulative event of upwards of 13, 14 months now. It's been an absolute honor and privilege, and I'm so ready to get this underway. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you joining us, for whether it's the first time or whether you're longtime viewers, none of this is possible without your support. Head over to Twitter. Let us know who you think is going to win this, guys. Whether it be you Arctic Wolves fans or whether those who like breathing for you Oxygen fans. And we're going to have to figure out who's going to win here. Let's introduce these teams, Notch, and get this before these guys start going at each other's throats. As we see that there. So, of course, you guys know the roster on Team Oxygen, but we're going to introduce them anyways. It's going to be Imsco or Imsco, depending on who you ask on Twin Blast. Phasma picking up FaZe. Meds ! On Grux. Arsenic on Lieutenant Bellica. And Team Reborn.net, a.k.a. Ram Riddles, picking up the Kwong.
We've got over on this side of Arctic Wolves, Fatal Barrage in the jungle on Sevarog. Taurino is going to be in the mid lane, off lane on Howitzer. Crazy Fool playing the mid lane with Decker. Mr. Guru is going to be playing Morigesh, and Survivor is going to be playing on Sparrow. So the duo mid lane setup is what we're going to see here. This is an interesting setup. I mean, Phasma and Imsco both in the mid lane as well. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, Shane.
I agree. Duo mid is something that was very favored about 2 or 3 months ago, and then it just went away as quickly as it came. And now we're starting to see teams once again experimenting with it. The thing about this is Team Oxygen was the team who really had the most success with the duo mid. So that leads me to believe that they really know, if they know how to play it well, then of course that means you know how to play around it, you know its weaknesses. And I won't be surprised if Team Oxygen are already starting to lick their chops a little bit and saying, we know how to deal with this. Let's see if we can get it done.
So the duo mid, the strength of this is the aggression they can put in the enemy jungle, also controlling the river buffs and that rotation very quickly to rotate. Fatal Barrage already getting aggressive here on meds, which I like to see. Fatal Barrage is going to try to invade and pick this up here. Nobody has the green buff. I do believe Fatal Barrage has a black buff. Smash and Grab is just going to miss. And Fatal Barrage is going to go ahead and just back off here. Didn't have the damage to deal with that. But I do like that aggression, trying to deny him a little bit of farm. Fatal Barrage still getting aggressive over here onto Team Reborn.net.
He missed the subjugate, but the minion waves favoring Ram Riddles right now. So both Mr. Guru and Fatal need to be really careful here. Kwong is a hero that can pull off 1v2 situations, especially when you fight into a minion wave that is, I mean, that's essentially a wave and a half right there. So
yeah.
if I'm Mr. Guru, I'm counting my blessings. That could have been an easy kill by Ram Riddles right there, but nonetheless, they're going to turn what was a botched rotate into them just getting away with their tails tucked between their legs.
If they wanted to get aggressive on this tower, they could. I mean, they do have a siege minion here. I like he's at 50% health, so he is going to back off. But they could have dealt quite a bit of damage here. Not taking it, but definitely done a lot of work on that tower. He's just going to back off. So mid lane, Shane, 4 minutes into the game, we've seen a little bit of action. No deaths yet, but as we look at this mid lane setup here, Phasma and Imsco. Imsco is what we've seen in the past. He likes to farm. He's very, I think he takes a little bit longer than other carry players to really come online and get that aggression. But he's playing with Phasma, who is one of the most aggressive supports we have ever seen in Paragon Competitive League. You put this man on a Richter, he doesn't stay in lane. He's constantly rotating.
Wish.
And he now has a hero where he can allow Imsco to get a little bit more aggressive, to overextend, to put himself in danger and be able to save him. Do you think we'll see Imsco get more aggressive here? Or do you think we're going to see that same style of Imsco play where he just kind of slow farms and does this thing until he gets to about 25 to 30 card power?
I think we're going to see the same old Peruvian powerhouse. I don't expect much of a switch up here, especially considering what is on the line for these two teams right now. And Phasma, while yes, is a very aggressive support player, FaZe herself is not necessarily catered towards that. You know, a Narbash, that is the, for me, people who like to play aggressive support, Narbash is really excels at that. Decker as well. FaZe is definitely more suited towards passive play. She has aggressive potential, obviously, catching people out with Mystic Flare, using her ultimate, but I won't be surprised if we see the same old Mystic Flare. Mystic Flare. I won't be surprised if we just see the same old coming out of Team Oxygen, at least for the first 10, 15 minutes, very similar to Reborn, where around 10-minute mark, that's where you see them start to rotate towards a little bit higher tier objectives like the Raptors or tower pushes.
I am 100% requesting Epic to change Psychic Flare to Mystic Flare for the end of time. Like if I'm gonna call it that forever.
I don't know where that name came from, man.
I mean, it's quivering scales, quivering gale.
Right.
Like, Survivor is going to get rooted up here. Imsco again. He's going to be a little bit passive, not going there and deal that damage. This is more of a poke tool to keep them backed up, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna lock you in place." And if Imsco decides to start spamming grenades, you're going to be in a lot of trouble here. We haven't talked much about these off lanes and safe lanes, Shane. Taurino and Howitzer up against Arsenic on Bellica. I got to give this lane to Arsenic, to Bellica. That control, the drone, the void bomb, the seismic assault. She just has a lot of ways to really deal with Taurino and can be a bit more aggressive. Yes, Taurino has his landmine and can knock that hero around. Wow.
Double KO around the same time. Yeah, both the supports got taken out almost immediately, but the fight was absolutely favored for Oxygen very early into that. Meds rotated, picked up a kill on to Sparrow, and Oxygen come out, take down the carry player early on, and if it's you have that duo mid versus duo mid, that really can open up the game, especially around Raptors. Too early for Raptors, but still, that's going to be Team Oxygen feeling pretty good.
Yeah, Imsco's alive. Imsco's now just allowed to free farm. One of the things that I really admire about Imsco's play is he tends to be a little bit more passive. And Mr. Guru is going to fall to TeamReborn.net, just getting a little bit over aggressive.
Another
Meds with the rotation there, and they're going to go ahead and pick up that kill. One of the things that I just blows my mind when watching Imsco play, Shane, is his ability to farm. He can pop shots at anybody, but he never misses a last hit. I've never seen anybody do it. He some of the other carriers have that, but his skill at this is spamming grenades, shooting into targets, and then instantly back on a minion for that last hit, and then back on enemy heroes. It's really impressive to watch. If you guys don't watch his stream, it's incredible. Definitely recommend watching it, seeing how he plays carry. Look at his positioning and his rotations. It's something to watch for sure.
He's got some great emotes as well, not going to lie. Those potato emotes are
potato hype.
And potato hype. This offlane Howitzer, I've always thought Howitzer as well as Gideon, but I always thought that they
get aggressive in the mid lane again here. Survivor is very low.
Survivor going to be kept up with the quenching scales. If it wasn't for that, if quenching scales wasn't online right there for Crazy Fool, that could have been an easy pickup onto Sparrow. This match in mid lane, I think, favors Oxygen considerably just because it's a Twin Blast. That grenade spam and poke harassment that he has, Sparrow really doesn't have very good maneuverability to dodge those consistently. And as long as Imsco is landing those, he can put himself in a very aggressive position and spam out those grenades. Even if he does start taking too much damage, Phasma can pull him out. I think inherently Oxygen have the advantage here, and I mean it already shows in the most recent engagement. Taurino's going to be in some trouble as well. Meds is just left, right, and center. He's been all over the place. Beautifully done. Arsenic preemptively setting up the void bomb on the other side of the field before the smash and grab even went down. That shows you the level of coordination that this team has, and they are displaying it in its full force. Mid lane, Imsco is going to be pulled out of danger as Fatal Barrage showed up, and that's the strength of FaZe. Has the capabilities of doing that. Fatal is going to run away with nothing to show for it.
And Survivor is very, very low again. Very, very low again. Imsco continuing that aggression in the mid lane here.
continuing that push, I wonder if they're going to be able to pick up this tower here. If they continue to do that, it'll... no, I was going to say, it's, they got to be careful. They especially have to respect Sparrow does have decent wave clear with Hail of Arrows, though, so should be okay. But yeah, this offlane Howitzer versus the solo Bellica pretty much is a traditional mid lane. It just happens to be on the opposite side of the field. But I wonder if, I mean, do you think that Arctic Wolves knew that there was going to be dual lane versus dual lane, or was Taurino sort of set up in this situation? Taurino traditionally is their mid lane player, so it leads me to believe Arctic Wolves really had a beat on Oxygen going into this.
I mean, I think this is just one of those. Yes, he's not in the mid lane, but like you said, this is a mid lane setup. He's going to be able to play this hero in any lane he wants. Comes down to Arctic Wolves. I think Arctic Wolves has watched enough of Team Oxygen to understand how they play in their rotations and try and counter anything that they try and counter their strategies. I was talking to Crazy Fool last night, and Crazy Fool was like, if they play this hero, this is how we're going to counter this. If we need to watch for these certain timings. So Crazy Fool has been watching Reborn. He's been watching replays. He's been helping coach his team. Just guys,
as well as Oxygen, I would hope.
Yeah, I'm sure Oxygen has been doing the same thing. But you know, we look at these guys and we look at the way they play, and most of these teams, both of these top teams, Reborns, Oxygen, they have very distinct timings when it comes down to how they're going to engage on a river buff, how they're going to engage on mid lane, when they're going to rotate. And it's just figuring out those timings and being able to play around those timings. And if Articles is able to do that, if Articles is going to be able to do that, they can win this fight.
Fatal and Crazy Fool have been rotating around looking for something for a while now and really haven't been able to find much of anything. They almost had an opportunity at Emsco, but Phasma pulled the trigger on the Yank real quick and was able to get him out of harm's way. And now mid lane with Decker now rotating around to look up for kills. This is Oxygen's opportunity to take advantage of that dual lane mid, now up against a solo Sparrow, and pick up a tier 1 tower early on in the mid lane. So Raptors are looking pretty appetizing right now, especially considering they've just opened up the room for themselves, but more importantly are starting to not deny a little bit of map vision of their opponent. I won't be surprised if we start seeing both of these teams start having a little bit of battle of the wards around that Raptor camp here within the next couple minutes. And Fatal, he continues to look for ganks, but he's really starting to come up short. Rotating in, Phasma gets stunned, Subjugate as well. The Decker ultimate committed for this, so if they really need to be able to pick up this kill to justify a Decker ultimate, Phasma pop the ultimate onto Emsco and just all the damage coming out of there. They pick up the kill onto Fatal at the same time. Meds was in the background, and they got the kill on Decker as well. So Oxygen, they were able to survive through that containment fence. And Meds, man, he's just playing so well. He's always there. Now going for Survivor as well. Gets the smash and grab. Can they get the kill underneath the tier 2 tower? 13 minutes in. One more auto attack. One more anything they do. Emsco picks him up with the grenade. And Oxygen are just on the warpath right now. What are they going to do here? They can push a tier 2. They can go for Raptors. Either way, they are looking good.
Shane, they can do whatever they want, like you just said. If they want a tier 2 tower at 12 minutes, they can take a tier 2 tower. Taurino's going to rotate in, knock them back. Raptors are open. This is their map. They are pretty low, so I expect them to back here and heal up. But really good gameplay coming out of Meds. Meds is one of the best junglers in Paragon. His rotations are on point. His smash and grabs today have been just on. He hasn't missed, and he's setting up these engagements. Great rotations. I mean, right now, Meds is really the one helping dictate the flow of this fight, and that's what the jungler should be doing this early in the match.
Raptors still have yet to even be hinted at of being taken by either one of these teams thus far. Or Prime, we see taken earlier and earlier. Maybe not taken per se, but more specifically trying to do the baited switch, which we saw oh so frequently. I expect to continue to see that from both of these teams. And there's going to be a little an interesting mini game around the Orb Prime if we see a consistent little tactic of trying to bait and switch teams out. Where if, okay, we know you're at Orb Prime, we know you're not actually doing it though, so we're going to go push your tier 2 tower, or it'll be fun to see as these teams start to figure that out a little bit more. Rambriddles in some duress here underneath the tower. Fatal does not have it. The pull from Phasma was used, but unfortunately you can't get pulled away from the power of the Voodoo. and Arctic Wolves get themselves on the board again. Fatal's been on the hunt for a while now, and finally is able to pick something up there. That curse coming up from Mr. Guru. I mean, he's almost level 9 already, always has a tainted magic. Mr. Guru has just been sort of quietly, calmly, and low-key farming up and getting very key items in progress 14 minutes in.
So TeamWarriorNet, Fatal Barrage rotated over. He lands the Subjugate, misses the Colossal Billow. They're still able to pick up that kill, but a little bit of a misplay on from Fatal Barrage there. One of the things we were talking about before is Fatal Barrage is what I would refer as a emotional player. He plays if you put him on tilt, you can notice it. He starts to make subtle misplays, and that was one there. I think the aggression coming out of Reborn has already started to get to Fatal Barrage. If they're able to continue to bully him, able to continue to really dictate the flow of this match, putting Fatal Barrage on tilt and having their jungler not playing to the best of his abilities is really going to be a hindrance for Arctic Wolves.
Yeah, anytime you have a player who is, I mean, when he's playing really well, it just is that snowball effect. I expect that out of Fatal Barrage. We'll have to see how that goes here. Ram Riddles is one of the, I mean, his name is synonymous with offlane. His name is synonymous with just game-changing plays. He's been widely respected as one of the best individual players in Paragon for months now. Kwang is not necessarily the flashiest of heroes. It's not a Wukong, which is playable, by the way, but I highly doubt we're going to see him. It's not a Feng Mao. It's, nothing like that. But it's consistency is what Ram Riddles has. His ability to last hit in the off lane, which is always difficult to do, given the inherent disadvantage you're always at. His ability to always not allow waves to push against him. Just everything he does is so consistent, is what makes him so well respected. And Kwang is one of the best heroes for that, because Kwang is such a well-rounded hero. Forcing Morigesh not to be at fights, but instead doing wave clear. And Morigesh, you don't want her doing wave clear. You want her to be in the team fights, throwing hives down, contending objectives, which, speaking of which, the Raptors just went down. Oxgyen was able to pick up 2 of them. Arctic was really didn't have much of a response for it. There's still one left, but still.
Arctic was rotated in, Shane. And they had pressured Meds quite a bit. He ended up popping the Warlord's Challenge. I'm not sure the reason behind that, but he just kind of was like, "Hey, here's an ultimate." Maybe it was a panic ultimate, and then he was able to escape there. They don't pick up the kill, but again, 2 Raptors over for Imsco, who is already farming really well. I mean, 27 card power, compare that to Survivor's 22, 6 card power lead this early in the match can really become a hindrance, especially when it's on a hero like Twin Blast, who just is so strong. He's one of those heroes that transitions really well from early, mid to late game. He's got a very smooth ramp up and just very consistent as he progresses through the game.
Sparrow, on the other hand, does maybe not have that, but her late game is certainly superior when it comes to DPS potential. Ram Riddle's in a lot of trouble. He's just trying to dance as best as he can, but if the 4-man rotate kill, and this is a strong tier 2 tower push, about 17.5 minutes. Meds is going to clean this up as quickly as he can. Arctic Wolves, I'm not sure if they have the damage potential to really take this tower down. Meds is going to be force packed. The stasis bomb from half court does land. The response is the flank around. Look at this. They knew it was happening. They didn't come from the front, but they came from the back. Fatal's going to be in some trouble. Uses the quenching scales to keep himself alive. Imsco's trying to thread the needle of his bullets in between his teammates, but instead they're just all taking damage. Look at this seismic assault. Arsenic comes in. He pulls the trigger. He gets the kill. Arsenic with the big plays right there. Now Imsco's looking for more crazy fool. Hits that jump. Is going to be able to get away, but that flank maneuver from Oxgyen, that was beautifully done.
Yeah, great flank, a lot of damage coming out from Arsenic. That Void Bomb landed onto 2 targets with the grenade spam on top of that. I mean, Survivor and Fatal Barrage just deleted off the map there. Tier 2 tower is still standing. Shane, you lose jump pads, it's pretty much GG, and you don't want to lose jump pads 18 minutes into the game. So they're able to protect that tower. They pick up some kills. The only one that falls on the side of side of Team Oxgyen was Meds, and Meds has been playing out of his mind. It's okay for him to take a quick break, relax for a second, and spend that card power.
Dip his toes in the jacuzzi. Taking a book, The Buttress of Winsler. It's all good. He's deserved that break, but he's back on the field picking up that green buff there. And for those of you who got that reference, you and I are good friends. But the green buff, there's been no invasion into the jungles on either side. Oxygen really doesn't do that, but I would like to see maybe some mid-game invasions around that green buff. That opportunity now has come and gone, but there's always that period from about 10 to 20 minutes where Raptors the point of contention. But when the Raptors are down, what else is there to really do? It's mostly invasions. And Severog is now hitting the point where he's starting to overcome Grux in terms of pound for pound what he brings to the table. And I would love to see Arctic Wolves in the next 2 to 3 minutes really try to find pickoffs in the strong side jungle of their opponent of Oxgyen.
Meds has picked up the stab link, Shane, so expect to see some aggressive blinks into smash and grabs out of him. Once these guys transition from farm mode to team fight mode, this is when it gets scary. How is Arctic Wolves going to be able to answer this? Great stasis gem out of Phasma, denying that colossal blow from Fatal Barrage.
Now, Survivor's in a lot of trouble, was isolated, but is going to be able to get away. Meds is going to be taking up the full damage of the Howitzer Ultimate, barely able to get at that last barrage. So he's going to be okay right there. Meds was able to latch on to Survivor. The smash and grab landed onto Sparrow. That forced the entire roster of Arctic Wolves instead to continue to pursue a kill, fall back and protect their carry. They kept their carry alive, but they were really looking for a kill there.
One Raptor still spawning. Imsco now going to pick it up 20 minutes into the game. The things with Raptors, we've talked about this before. Unless you kill all 3 Raptors, Shane, they don't respawn. So they've missed out on quite a bit of farm by not killing that last Raptor there. I mean, they are picking up farm in other areas, but Raptors is a very important objective to give your carry that economical advantage he needs. And unfortunately, it's been something that's been denied for the past 21 minutes in the game.
We saw the showings of what could have been a invasion into the green side of Arctic Wolves. They did not do that. Arsenic able to pick up a solo kill over on the Talrino's Howitzer. As Howitzer, you have to respect Bellica. Bellica is the favored in that 1v1 matchup, especially once that second level of ultimate comes online and the Bellica starts to get a couple of damage items. It's really an unfavored matchup. And if I'm Arctic Wolves, I'm making sure that we don't let Arsenic just start walking over Howitzer. It has nothing to do with Talrino's play. It's just the fact that it's a intrinsically bad matchup and Talrino's going to be struggling. So maybe try to rotate Fatal over there a little bit or just have a straight up lane switch. Morgesh doesn't fend well against her well either. So we'll have to see what the response is from Arctic Wolves. Either way, I feel like they are going to have to respond to this. Crazy Fool's under a lot of trouble here. He's going to get picked up and taken out of the field. Another kill for Oxygen. This could be the first tier, the showings of a tier 2 tower push. Survivor and Fatal putting themselves in a defensive posture. The tower's already down to a quarter HP, and it is going to fall. Jump pads down for Arctic Wolves.
So one of the things that has made Bellica strong is the change to the health on the Void drone. Back in the day, it was pips, and 3 or 4 shots would take it down. They've changed it to health. So early game casters struggle a little bit more dealing with that Void drone, Shane. And Bellica, when you have no mana, will neural disrupt your brain, and you'll die pretty quickly. And making
it's a bullet through the brain.
It's a bullet through the brain, making it a little bit harder to kill. She's really become the anti-caster. She is so good at dealing with casters. And Talrino in that last engagement, using mana, taking a couple damages, taking a couple hits from the Void Drone, plus losing that mana is what allowed that 1v1 to happen. Of course, in the mid lane there, we just saw good rotation again from Meds. They were able to root up Crazy Fool, smash and grab, pick up that kill on him. This has opened up the map for them. Tier 2 towers down, keep this pushed in their favor. They really opened up Raptors and Orb Prime for them. Expect to see another push to one of these off lanes. Most likely in the Raptor lane, I'd like to see them push. Talrino is already struggling.
I say be bold. I say be bold. Go for the Orb Prime lane. When you have the situation like this, I wouldn't be surprised if Oxygen makes a bold play and tries to go for the right lane as opposed to the left to try to open up the opportunity for that Orb Prime play.
Yeah. These guys are in such a good spot right now. They're playing so well. Again, man, I stream, but you look at these teams and you watch these play styles, and I don't want to say Arctic Wolves doesn't want to head to North Carolina, but you look at the way Oxygen is playing. They want this trip. They want a chance at $15,000. They want to be known as the best team in the competitive scene. And that's really what they're fighting for. Again, aggressive stabling. Crazy Fool does land the stasis bomb on Meds, so he is going to be able to escape for now. The ultimate is popped from Phasma. Keep allowing Imsco to chase. Grenade is going to miss. Crazy Fool is just barely going to escape. but they still have this ability to push here.
They do. Crazy Fool's going to heal up in no time short, and was going to be able to get back to what could be a push. Oxygen, man, they're saying we don't care about Raptors, we don't care about our Prime, we're just going to be pushing down the structures here. We haven't had much downtime to show the kills, but Oxygen, economically, they have a significant lead right now. 11 kills to 4. At the 24.5-minute mark CS, they have a 100 CS lead on their opponent. Mid lane is pushed in. They are spreading them thin and now falling back a little bit here. They were maybe trying to eye out a pick-off, and from that, find into their tier 2 tower, or even an inhibitor if they took a very decisive engagement. As of right now, we do see 2 members of them starting to rotate, 3 rather, over to the Orb Prime, maybe to set that wave. Ramriel's delegated to set that wave, and this could be a posturing of the Orb Prime. Arctic Wolves, judging by their positioning, I think they're aware of it. You can see Crazy Full, Fatal Barrage are in the area, especially with the river buff spawning. Purple buff picked up by Emsco. More than likely, he'll just be using that to scout around and look for wards. But yeah, it's this is going to be Orb Prime pretty soon. I wonder if we're going to continue to see that bait and switch that we saw Reborn do time and time again yesterday, or if Oxygen are going to just try to commit, pick up the Prime card hard mids.
Wow.
He snap links in. He gets the Smasher Grab. Fatal's not the best target to be trying to focus down, as he's tanky and has some maneuverability. Colossal Blow used on the meds. He's going to be taken out, but there's just very little follow-up. I thought maybe they were able to take down meds here, but with the rest of his team, rest of Arctic was being spread thin across the map, Morgesh having to be in the right side of the map to deal with that wave. Colossal Blow was null and void. 5v4 power play, immediately Oxygen to Orb Prime.
Fatal Barrage doesn't have, he has a Toon Barrier online, not a Tempered Plate, so he has no physical resistance. That's why he got deleted the way he did. He's got a little bit of extra health, but he just doesn't have the tankiness he needs to survive an engagement like that. Love the aggressive play coming out.
Man, they killed that fast.
Stole that. They killed that very quickly.
Oh no, but did their eyes get bigger than the stomach? I think they sure did. Actually, that's Ramriels who got a double tether on both the Decker and the Sparrow. 2 high priority targets with the Prime card. Now a 5v3 is going to be, or a 5v4 is going to be turned into a 5v3. This could be a devastating and crippling damage to Arctic Wolves. They're going to have to play this almost perfectly just to keep their inhibitors alive. Their tier 2 towers are going to be fallen. Oxygen, they're going to be relegating 4 people to the left side. In the mid lane is going to be Arsenic. Who can they do that? This Bellic is being used to such great effectiveness. They know that one of the casters is going to be sent to that mid lane to deal with this push, and Bellica just has the advantage. Switches over to mid, double subjugates, so they're defending the inhibitor well thus far, but I think the damage of the Prime card is simply going to be too much. Fatal moving himself forward, but not going to look for any more kills. That Void Drone just does so much work. There was nothing that Severog could do. Fatal was looking for a subjugate. Oh my, Arsenic again! Playing out of his mind this game. Transitioning to mid lane, stabbling forward, challenger the Warlord, forces out the blink from Survivor, but Imsco's no, he's there. The accuracy, Phasma pulls him aggressively forward underneath the core. He says, come here, Imsco, I'm not done with you yet. And Imsco gets yet another kill. Tarino's a lone survivor. He's going to make it rain, but I think the only rain here is going to be the reign of Team Oxygen in game number 1 as they looked dominating. They're going to take down the core despite the backdoor protection and are off to a 1-0 start. One more win, and they have themselves a ticket to carry North Carolina.
I mean, words, Shane. What words do you really need to? I'm just speechless. You look at the way Oxygen played. You look at the way Arsenic played that Bellica. He was just dictated the flow of his lane. Showed Taurino, hey, I'm in charge here. There's nothing you can do about it. He rotates in. Mr. Guru was there for a moment. Void Drone down, Neural Disruptor just dominating fashion from Oxygen right there. Arctic Wolves really didn't stand a chance. I mean, they had a good draft. They had some okay engagements, but that aggression out of Meds, Shane, that stab link into a smash and grab, the immediate follow-up out of Oxygen, how do you answer that? What do you do to answer that aggression? And Arctic Wolves didn't find an answer. Oxygen takes that first game pretty decisively, pretty easily. Well done to them. We're going to be seeing a game number 2 here in just a minute, guys. We're going to take a quick break. Thank you for supporting Paragon Competitive League. Thank you for supporting the competitive scene of Paragon. We truly, truly appreciate it. We'll be back in just a few moments.